51 years later, getting ready to do the first ever Mars return mission.
Eventually, we can bring those samples back to Earth and determine for the very first time, did life exist on Mars?
In less than an hour, NASA's 300 million mile journey from America's shore to Jezero Crater on Mars will begin with the launch of this Atlas V rocket into space. And at the top of that rocket, with a beautiful sunrise and shrouded by that protective fairing, is the Perseverance rover headed to Mars, ready to ride a column of fire and smoke on its way to the red planet. What a beautiful morning here on the Space Coast. Welcome, everyone. Behind us, the star of the show. This is a life-size mock-up of the Perseverance rover, which is just like the one we are launching to space. Hi, everyone. I'm Daryl Nail.
And I'm Mujige Cooper. In the 50 minutes leading up to launch, we will show you how this mission will reach and search for ancient microscopic life on Mars and test new technologies critical to the ultimate goal, future human missions to Mars.
That's right, and we've got the rocket on the pad and it is ready to go. A beautiful day outside. We're L-47 minutes and counting until launch, and so far the countdown to Mars is on track. We've got great weather, the rocket's looking good, and it puts us on track for a launch at 7:50 a.m. Eastern Time, the beginning of a 2-hour window.
In today's coverage, we will hear Grammy Award winner Gregory Porter. We'll talk live with Derek Muller of the YouTube channel Veritasium, along with the aerospace engineers, scientists, and a NASA astronaut.
Oh, it's going to be a great show.
Yes.
I love it. I love it. And we have teams from coast to coast, folks, helping us count down to Mars. We will go live to the Atlas Spaceflight Operations Center, just a few miles away from us.
And we'll go live to California, to the Jet Propulsion Laboratory, where the Mars 2020 mission team is standing by to communicate with Perseverance after it gets to space.
And of course, we are here to tell you what the Perseverance mission is all about. It's an exciting day for all of us here. So we want to walk you through what you will see next during the countdown and the rocket launch. So let's send it over to Joshua Santora and Mick Woltman, who are with the ULA and Launch Services program teams. Gentlemen.
Hey, good morning, Daryl. I'm Joshua Santora, and I am here at Atlas Spaceflight Operations Center, joined by Mick Woltman from NASA's Launch Services Program. Mick, you excited to go to Mars?
I am excited to go to Mars this morning, Josh. This is a great day. The sunrise out there looks awesome on this rocket, and ready for a great launch today. Thanks for having me on the show.
Man, happy to have you along, providing a ton of good context as we go through. Before we dive into the story of Perseverance, we want to give you a preview of what's ahead today in the countdown. Things really got going this morning just after midnight, actually, and Atlas V is just about ready to fly. In a few more minutes, we're going to get the final check of the weather, and that weather report should be coming back really positive. It's been great all morning. We have the terminal count ahead after that. We will be proceeding through the last few minutes of the countdown, and then the drum will be and rocket take flight. After successfully passing through max Q just shy of 2 minutes into flight, the solid rocket boosters will be expended and will be jettisoned. Nearly 2 more minutes, and the payload fairing, what you might call the nose cone of the rocket, that has been protecting Perseverance, will no longer be needed. It will split in 2 halves and fall away from the accelerating vehicle. 1 minute later, the Atlas booster will have finished its task of lifting Perseverance above Earth's atmosphere and being on the way to orbit. It too will separate, exposing the Centaur RL-10 upper stage engine that will almost immediately begin its first burn that lasts approximately 7 minutes. After coasting for more than 30 minutes, the second burn, lasting around 8 minutes, will take Perseverance out of Earth orbit and into solar orbit on its way to Mars. That's this morning, the acquisition of signal. And I say hoping to intentionally because it's quite possible that Perseverance will be in perfect condition, but we won't make contact during the broadcast. So, lots more to come, lots ahead, but Daryl, we're going to throw it back over to you now to tell us more about this amazing mission.
All right, thank you, Joshua and Mick. We've got a lot of really smart people and talented people that we're going to be talking to today, but let's begin with a scientist who's coming up in just a bit. We'll want to talk a little bit about Mujige Cooper, who's here. She is a planetary protection lead for this mission. Thank you so much. You've been working on this for a while.
At this time. on 2.5 minutes into flight. The RD-180 is throttled down slightly as expected. Engine response continues to look good. At this time, the vehicle is 50 miles in altitude, 85 miles downrange, traveling at 6,000 miles per hour. And the Centaur reaction control system is now pressurizing to flight levels. And just past 3 minutes into flight, the RD-180 is now throttling to maintain a constant 2.5 G acceleration limit for payload bearing jettison. Engine response and vehicle acceleration look good. And we have good indication of payload fairing jettison and Centaur forward load reactor deck jettison.
কি যাচ্ছে
গ্র্যাভিটেশনাল ফোর্স
গ্র্যাভিটেশন ফোর্সগুলো আরো মোটা মোটা চাকতির মতো
And the RD-180 is throttling back up to attain a 4.6 G acceleration. Engine response continues to look good.
আরে এটা স্পেস রে
And Centaur has begun the boost phase chill down sequence to thermally condition the RL-10 for operation.
আর ওখানে ক্যামেরা ফিট করে আছে না
Standing by for PICO shortly.
ওখান থেকে বেরোচ্ছে ওখান থেকে ওই যে ভেকুমগুলো মানে ওই আগুনটা বেরিয়ে যাচ্ছে
না না ওটা সামনে
Pico is the
Pico's the call for. Standing by for stage separation.
কোন লোক আছে রে
না না ওকে না
And we have good indication of Atlas Centaur separation.
এই তো
so they're using live footage,
And we have Mach 1. RL-10 operating parameters look good. Chamber pressures are stable.
তুমি স্যাটেলাইটটা তো যাবে
পৌঁছবে কি করে
এটাই তো পৌঁছবে
This will be the first of 2 burns for today's mission. This first burn will be approximately 7 minutes in length.
না না এটা করতে থাকবে এখন দিনের পর দিন এটা চলবে
So Mick, that's pretty exceptional footage there. That's live video. We will see that switch over shortly into an animation that kind of helps let us know what's happening with the rocket. But right there, a beautiful liftoff. Fun to feel that rumble in the building here as we proceed towards orbit and then towards Mars destination.
Yeah, absolutely. It was great watching an on-time liftoff of the Atlas V with that little over 2 million pounds of thrust. Cleared the tower in roughly 5 seconds. Throttling to maintain a constant 2.5 G acceleration limit for payload bearing jettison. Engine response and vehicle acceleration look good. And we have good indication of payload fairing jettison and Centaur forward load reactor deck jettison. And the RD-180 is throttling back up to attain a 4.6 G acceleration. Engine response continues to look good. And we have good indication of Atlas Centaur separation.
So they're using live footage.
And we have Mach 1. RL-10 operating parameters look good. Chamber pressures are stable. This will be the first of 2 burns for today's mission. This first burn will be approximately 7 minutes in length.
of the first burn. It's tough to make out, but that engine is in motion. There you go. There's that animation we talked about.
The telemetry there as we switch to a TDRS compatible data format.
TDRS
overall telemetry quality is very.
Those took about 17 seconds to get past tower. So with those 4 solids today, this thing really got out of here and on its way. It's, as we hear from Jesse,
chamber pressures.
everything's looking nominal, and all vehicle parameters are within the design limits, and we're getting ready to come up on a main engine start for that first burn that Jesse was talking about.
Yeah, so recapping this countdown to Mars, the stations began to be filled up this morning just after midnight. Preparations, fuelings, powering up, all the way through that liftoff that happened. I think, Mick, it wasn't precisely on time. I think you said it was like 10 milliseconds early. So it's pretty much dead on.
Yeah, dead on. This team does agree.
This is not an actual video, but this is an animation that's driven by real data. So although we're not actually seeing the engine on screen right now, we can see that the engine is lit, and that is driven by the data that says that the engine is truly lit and we're in this burn.
Yeah, the launch vehicle continues to send telemetry to the launch team via the TDRS network, as you mentioned, and that allows them to continue to watch what's going on and make sure all their sequence of events meet their timeline. We continue on a nominal flight this morning. This first burn, as we heard earlier, will be about 6 minutes. This will get us into that park orbit around Earth, allow us to get on our way, and then get into that approximately 30-minute coast period that we're going to have.
8 minutes into flight, beginning to see the Centaur PU system balance out mass errors. Seeing very stable body rates in the Centaur.
So we've mentioned 5 teams at play, and although if you were watching, hopefully you got a chance to see this in person, if not on camera, it's easy to kind of say, oh, it's over, like job done, but all 5 of these teams still very much engaged, still very much focused, because there's a lot of work ahead as we proceed through this first burn, and then a coast phase, like you mentioned, Mick, and then a for a while, though.
Yes, this has been 7 years in the making, and I'm so excited to share this moment with you and with those that are viewing today. I'm just ecstatic.
It's fantastic, and we're in a launch period. People probably want to know, why are we launching today? Why are we launching right now? We're in a period that only comes around once every 2 years.
Yeah.
Explain that.
The orbits of Earth and Mars are on the same side of the sun so that we can reach that destination with less fuel. So it's the best time. Short journey, less power.
We like that. And we're studying the climate, the geology, and searching for ancient life. But, Lou, what kind of life are we talking about here?
Well, when we search, we're not going to find dinosaur fossils, right? We're likely,
No?
unfortunately, likely we're going to find it in the form of microscopic life.
We're hoping.
Ancient
to.
life. We're hoping.
Yeah, we don't know if it's there, right?
Yeah, don't know.
Okay, well, that's why we're going.
Yeah.
That is 7:50 a.m. Eastern time, so that time is correct.
As I'm watching Josh do the calculations on his finger there.
Get my advocates out.
Right.
No, so there's a lot to come ahead. One of the things coming up in just a few seconds.
5 minutes, 30 seconds.
NSC. Go NSC. Spacecraft on internal power and timer set for T0 of 1150 Zulu.
Roger. OS, start list data capture. Roger. All steps are complete prior to terminal count. LC switch is ready.
Awesome. So things are really starting to pick up here. You're going to hear more and more chatter on those nets there. That call was to say that Perseverance is powered and ready to go, which is a phenomenal call.
Yeah, a couple things happened during that time, right? Is launch conductor, ULA's launch conductor, Scott Barney, pulled the whole ULA team. They were all go. We got to hear
the third of our 5 teams.
The third of our 5 teams. We got to hear the end of that where the range was clear to proceed, and ULA's launch director, Bill Cullen, gave the authority to go for launch this morning at 7:50 a.m. Then we got to hear from the JPL spacecraft team that they are
the fourth team,
that they are on internal power, and timers are set. They are targeting a liftoff of 7:50 a.m. this morning. So all things are looking good for us, Joshua, this morning. It's so, we talk about being nervous and excited. This is right here where we're nervous and excited.
Yes.
There are a lot of things happening as we get ready to count down to the liftoff this morning. We have about 15 seconds left in this hold before we pick up the count.
Yeah, we're going to listen into that. The 5th team, the one we haven't mentioned yet, is the Department of Energy, who is responsible for the MMRTG, the power source for Perseverance.
3, 2, 1, mark.
Awesome. So this is now the terminal countdown. This is that time when things become more and more automated over the next few minutes, and the energy's building, but the focus is increasing exponentially.
Yeah, as Tori said during his interview, you know, the teams are very disciplined, very focused on what they're doing, the operational sequence of events that they're following. They are making sure everything happens, especially in this T-4 and counting period, because there's a lot of things they have to do. They have to finish topping the vehicle, make sure that all the tanks, first stage, second stage on Centaur, are at flight pressures and full of fuel, ready to go for this morning. They have to make sure the FTS system is armed and ready for personnel safety, just in case, so that the range can do that. They have to check the electrical and avionics systems. They have to make sure that the flight computer has all the information it needs to place Mars 2020 into the orbit it has to. So a lot of things going on. Exciting time for the team right now, but again, staying focused and following that procedure they've got.
3 minutes.
As we look ahead to post-liftoff, I want to kind of preview for you what's going to happen, because there's going to be a lot going on. You're not going to hear much from us. You'll actually be hearing from the ULA flight commentator, Jesse Gonzalez. He'll be kind of giving those calls past liftoff that will walk us through maximum dynamic pressure and into SRB separation, and then into fairing separation, booster separation, and then the first main engine ignition of the Centaur,
yes.
RL-10. And so then you'll kind of hear us jump back in and help provide some more context to what's going on. We encourage you to stay with us for the rest of the show. There's a ton more content we have to bring you, and we are far from over. I want to emphasize that the countdown to Mars is not done at 0 today. The countdown to Mars ends in February, when Mars 2020 safely delivers Perseverance and Ingenuity to the surface of the red planet. So we're going to let you listen in now and enjoy the last couple minutes of the process of launching a rocket.
One minute 59.
Vehicle internal.
1 minute 55.
Launch sequencer start.
1 minute 50.
Securing Centaur leads to.
Securing Centaur LO2.
So there we heard the fueling is
1
wrapping
minute
up.
40.
Yep, fueling is wrapping
Launch
up.
enabled.
Team is done. Launch enable's
137.
done. Launch conductor sequence is ready to go. They're getting ready to turn the vehicle over to auto
FTS
sequence at T-31 seconds. So that's a big thing that they're getting done here at T-.
1 minute 15.
Produce CCS for launch. Roger.
1 minute 10.
Then valves locked.
Here, Joshua, right there.
Venting, so we're ready to go.
And actually, that's an
40
important
seconds.
point. The reason we don't see that
Stable
venting
at
is the
F3.
vent valves have been locked up to put flight pressure into the tanks. And as we just heard, they're stable at step 3, which means the tanks are ready to go. And here at about 5 seconds, we will
28
hear
seconds.
the team
ECS reduced for launch.
give the final go.
25 seconds.
Status check. Go Atlas. Go Centaur. Go Mars 2020.
There we go. We are ready to go lift off this morning, Joshua.
7, 6, 5, 4. Engine ignition. 2, 1, 0. Release and liftoff. As the countdown to Mars continues, the perseverance of humanity launching the next generation of robotic explorers to the red planet.
And Atlas TU has gone to closed loop control. Coming up on 30 seconds into flight, the RD-180 is throttling down as expected. Engine response looks good. And Mach 1 Atlas V is now supersonic. And passing 45 seconds into flight, vehicle is now passing through max Q, maximum dynamic pressure. And passing 1 minute into flight, the RD-180 is throttling back up as expected. Engine response looks good. At this time in flight, the SRB chamber pressures remain nominal. The RD-180 pump speed and fuel injector pressures are responding well to demands on the engine. Standing by for SRB burnout shortly. And we have burnout on all 4 SRBs. Burnout pressure signatures look good. Standing by for SRB jettison shortly. And we have a good indication of SRB jettison of all 4 SRBs. And the vehicle has gone to closed loop guidance. Vehicle body rates are responding normally at this time. And coming up on 2.5 minutes into flight, the RD-180 is throttled down slightly as expected. Engine response continues to look good. At this time, the vehicle is 50 miles in altitude, 85 miles downrange, traveling at 6,000 miles per hour. And the Centaur reaction control system is now pressurizing to flight levels.